Ibaye. Ibaye. We start from our bold black revolutionary beginning. The great warrior ancestor was one of our greatest organizers of all time. Didn't have flip phones, cell phones, faxes, and none of that, and organized our people all over, wherever we were in the world, in an exemplary way that we have followed for generations since then. We start with Garvey. We start with Marcus Garvey, who happened to be also our first political prisoner because he was such a great organizer. We say Ibaye. 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 As we come to Malcolm, as we come to the man whose name is the glue that holds us all together, we start with his family, who was also represented as soldiers in the Garvey movement. We recognize his father, the bold Earl Little, we say Ibaye. Ibaye. His mother, the brave Louise Little, we say Ibaye. 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 His bold, black, independent, fiery, independent big sister who always had his back, his sister Ella Little, we say Ibaye. 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 We say his queen, the queen Betty Bahia Shabazz, we say Ibaye. 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 We say Imam Omawali, Malcolm, the man who cut our time in half, who gave us the way to go when someone else was giving us another way to go. For Malcolm, X is the answer. We say Malcolm Ibaye. Ibaye. And the warriors who we salute today, some who have fallen already, but who dared to pick up the gauntlet that was laid down by Malcolm, who recognized that his blood was fertilizing the transformation of our liberation movement. And they are no longer here. They paid the supreme price with their lives. And unfortunately, because of the weaknesses of our movement that we got to deal with, we lost them in captivity. Bashir Hamid, Ibaye. Ibaye. Albert Newell Washington, Ibaye. Ibaye. Tracy Balogun, Ibaye. Ibaye. Earl Africa, Ibaye. 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 We just lost some in exile in several years ago. We have to acknowledge too. We have to acknowledge Donald D.C. Cox, Ibaye. Ibaye. Setawale Tabor, Ibaye. 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 So some of those who got out and came out has continued to blaze the trail. One of the reasons why we are here, because one of your comrades literally worked herself to death trying to get your comrades out of here for Sophia Bukhari Austin. We say Ibaye. 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 One of the baddest and boldest amongst us, who trained so many of you to be the soldiers and the warriors that you became, that helped define your moment in this incredible time that we are on. Geronimo Jijaga, we say Ibaye. 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 And just locally, we just lost several legends. We just left the funeral of the Imamu. Somebody was close to me personally, because you know I'm a knucklehead. But we were taught, and we had one of the best amongst us. So for the Imamu Emiri Baraka, we say Ibaye. Ibaye. Old underappreciated nation builder who just left us a few weeks ago, John Watusi Branch. Ibaye. Ibaye. And another loss that's been overlooked that nobody's talking about. And I know the young heads is looking at all of y'all kind of funny behind this, but when we lost El Hajj Malcolm Latif Shabazz, there was not enough outrage that we need to deal with the loss of the grandson of Malcolm X, who was just finding his way because he too came to understand that X is indeed the answer for Malcolm Latif Shabazz. We say Ibaye. 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 So for the four directions, the north, the south, the east, the west, we say Ibaye. 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 Ibaye, 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 Ashe, Ashe, oh. It is done, it is done. Y'all clap. Go be fired up. Before I bring up our welcome remarks, there is a gray Toyota Camry that needs to move. Yeah, the gray Toyota Camry with the license plates. F is in Freedom, P is in Paul Robeson, S is in Sundiata, FPS, number 1331. You need to move. Gray Toyota Camry, F is in Freedom, P is in Paul Robeson, S is in Sundiata, 1331. You know what to do. I started with Garvey, but it's so powerful. See, the numbers, the facts, the time, and the place don't lie. The brother who I'm going to bring before you now is a descendant of Marcus Garvey himself, right? And he organizing workers. That's how all this comes together over the years is incredible. But we want to bring before you now to give you greetings on behalf of 1199, who's been very good to the Malcolm X Commemoration Committee, very good to us trying to serve our freedom fighters in this very humble gathering that we do today. I want you to give 1199 a big shout, a big round of applause, and then greet warmly Brother Michael Garvey as he greets us with welcome. Give him a strong black hand.
Assalamu alaikum and Hotep. I'm here briefly, so I've asked Maria Curcado, who is the Vice President of Westchester County, Vice President here at 1199, to share a few words with you. Give her your kindest attention. Thank you.
Welcome to our home. For those of you who don't know what 1199 is, and I'm not going to assume that everyone does, just want to let you know that 1199 is the labor organization, and we represent mostly healthcare workers in different venues, hospitals, nursing homes, community-based organizations. And one of the things that we do, one of the reasons why most of us that work in 1199 love to work in 1199 is because in addition to representing workers and improving their standards of living, we also spend most of our time working with social justice issues. And that's important to most of us that work in the union. It's really important that part of our day, part of the work that we do is dedicated to social justice issues, like the freedom of political prisoners. It's one of our passions, one of the most important social justice issues. We are humbled that you are here in our home. It is our pleasure that you are here in our home. And we are very grateful to you for coming to us and knowing that you have a home here. To Mr. and Mrs. Ferguson, I want to say on behalf of our organization, thank you. Thank you, thank you very much for everything you've done. We thank you for being you, for the sacrifices that they might have not been sacrifices to you because it's what you believed in, but they were. That you know that nothing that you ever did was in vain, and we all recognize that, right? I didn't hear that though. We recognize it. Let's stand up and show that we recognize it. Let's stand up and say thank you. Say thank you. Thank you. Muchísimas gracias.
Let me bring before you now the person who has been doing and is doing, and that great sacrifice too. Now, I'm not going to get into too much. I'll let her tell you what she needs to tell you about what she's going through. I'm very proud of the sister that I'm about to bring up here. She's worked hard to the point where she's, in her own pain. And I'm trying to figure out how to get my behind into this city just to help take this load off her, even though I got my hands loaded in the other city that I come from. But the chairperson of the Malcolm X Commemoration Committee has been doing a stellar job, not just doing and moving the work of this committee and the work that we're very proud of, but also moving the work of the Sekou Odinga Defense Committee. This is personal for us. One of these freedom fighters is her husband, okay? And she's never too tired or in too much pain to do what needs to be done to get this done. So to give you welcome on behalf of our Malcolm X Commemoration Committee, our chairperson, Dequi Kioni Siddiqui, please give her a strong black hand.
Pam just asked me if I was okay, as did Frankie. And all I can say is that really, I'm not, right? As long as we have people who are behind the walls, none of us can be okay. So I have some moments that are better than others, but it's never a day that I'm okay, because I'm not okay with this. So because we're here to honor Herman and Iyaluua and the families of our freedom fighters, and I look around the room and I see the beautiful mosaic that's here. I see all the people who come here each and every year, and then the new faces. And it's really sometimes overwhelming, because sometimes we can think about that we're not doing enough, and then we come to this dinner and people are here each and every year. So that for me sometimes is overwhelming. So I just want to say thank you. So I wrote some remarks, because if I don't, then I'll finish and I'll say, you forgot to say that, Daquie. So, and I can't remember it all. So I want to say welcome to our 18th annual dinner tribute to the families of our political prisoners, and our most special tribute to our very own freedom fighting dynamic duo, Herman and Iyaluua Ferguson. I want to acknowledge the passing of 3 giants in our new African community, Brother Seydou and Joya, who, this is the only reason why he is not here, because he is here each and every year. Brother John Watusi Branch, and of course for folks who came from Brother Amiri Baraka's funeral today. The passing of these giants is a tremendous loss and a challenge to us that we continue the work important to them. As we gather here today, we say that this is what we intend to keep on doing. So let me say again, thank you and welcome to you here who are here with us for the first time. We hope your presence here will become a tradition we can count on so long as our freedom fighters remain behind the walls. To you who have spent this day with us each and every year, or most of them, for 18 years, we can't thank you enough for making this dinner tribute such a vibrant community, a loving community institution. This dinner is about gathering in tribute to our political prisoners and their families, to remind them that we have not forgotten their innumerable sacrifices. The family separations, missed weddings, birthdays, graduations, births, funerals, the physical, emotional, financial, spiritual, and psychological hardships they endured, raising children and grandchildren into adulthood without their fathers and grandfathers. It is for us to say to the mothers and the fathers and the sisters and the brothers and the sons and daughters and grandchildren of our Black Panther Party, Black Liberation Army revolutionaries, our US-held political prisoners who have been criminalized by this government for Black freedom fighting, for Black resistance, that we know your lives ain't in no way been easy, no crystal stairs. That anger, betrayals, personal family troubles, sadness, depression, frustration, and disappointment have passed your ways more time than we can count. And so we offer this dinner as our balm in Gilead against the winds of time that have sometimes rendered your lives and sacrifice invisible, ignored, dismissed, and marginalized. To refute the revisionism, opportunism, celebratory posturing, empty rhetoric, and unfulfilled declarations that surround your sons, fathers, husbands, brothers, uncles, nephews, loved ones, 30 to 40 year separation from your everyday lives. This dinner is for you, Mrs. Laborde, Mrs. York, Paula, Teresa, Sharon, Russell, Kasise, Kakuya, Jay, Chessa, Anochi, Sheila, Suni, Edith, Pam Hannah, Pam Africa, all the children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren, and other family members here and gone. You are our heroes and sheroes in this here Black Freedom Struggle. You. You who have lived the pain and chaos of having your lives turned upside down, inside out by COINTELPRO's war on Black liberation. Lived through the constant fear and worry of having your loved ones under, and all those hunting down promises to kill your children, parents, siblings, unless they turn themselves in. The intimidation, harassment, and threats to your lives, jobs, mental and emotional health, police helicopters hovering over your homes, guns pointed at your children, visiting their schools, the capture, beatings, torture of your loved ones, the unpredictably predictable prison transfers, medical crises, near-death experiences, state-sanctioned murders that comes with decades of poor nutrition, non-existent, and negligent prison health care, and so much more. You who have been there with and for our political prisoners when they needed us all the most, journeying upstate and across states to sit through plexiglass barriers, shackles, orange jumpsuits, prison tans, greens or browns, invasive prison searches, pat-downs, had visits denied. You who live the everyday reality that 20 members of the Black Panther Party and Black Liberation Army are serving 800+ years and counting of political imprisonment, are persistently denied parole, sat on death row in solitary confinement, held in 6x9 prison cells, while far too many of their former revolutionaries set about waxing poetic in front of podiums and cameras, making charismatic, eloquent speeches about their days in the party, but haven't seen the need to support in any way, visit, send letters, commissary monies, or offer any assistance of any kind to their fellow party members for years, even decades. Some even go as far to praise our political prisoners in death instead of advocating for and working on behalf of them in life. You have seen and lived through it all. We offer this dinner to you as our way of saying to you, as Tupac said in one of his songs, ain't no way we can pay you back. The plan is to show you that we care. We care about what you have endured for all these 30 and 40 years. As MXCC co-chair, can you give me a tissue? I'm running all over my face. That wasn't supposed to be on the sound. Okay. As co-chair of MXCC, thank you. As co-chair of MXCC, I can say you are in good company, because our dynamic duo, Herman and Iyaluua Ferguson, have also been there when others have not, did not, and still do not. This dinner, 18 years strong, is evidence of their and our support, memory, and allegiance to you and our Black Panther, Black Liberation heroes. It was when Herman and Iyaluua returned from exile and Herman faced what they both knew would be his political imprisonment that placed Iyaluua in the role of family member of political prisoner of war. Iyaluua says that it was the memory of that terror and powerlessness at not being able to do anything but wait for Herman to call to know how he was doing, of seeking answers and information and communication from a racist, hostile, indifferent prison administration bent on ignoring her requests and concerns, of driving Joan Gibbs, Herman's attorney at the time, crazy, that led to this dinner. 19 years of exile and 7 years of Herman's political imprisonment gave them both personal insights into what price is paid by those who fight for freedom and by those who love them who fight for freedom. And so here we come to be on this Saturday, January 18th, 2014, paying tribute to you, the families of our political prisoners, and to Herman and Iyaluua Ferguson. Where you now sit Iyaluua once said. For this we say to you, Iyaluua and Herman, thank you for never forgetting those left behind the prison walls, for not turning away from the sorrow and pain felt by the families of our political prisoners, for remembering that freedom ain't free, and it is our political prisoners and their families who pay the price every single day. And so we give honor to you. And I just want to add, someone is going around with a book. We have a keepsake book that we're going to present to Herman and Iyaluua, so please make sure that you sign that book and don't hold on to it. Who has the book right now? I don't see a hand. Oh, okay, okay. So make sure you sign that book. That is to our dynamic duo. We give honor to you for being the embodiment of revolutionary Black nationalism, revolutionary Black love, for your unapologetic politics of Black self-determination, self-defense, and liberation by any means necessary, for challenging us to strengthen our goals and strategies to better educate and organize the people in order to free our political prisoners, for speaking truth to power that the political imprisonment of our Black Panther Party, Black Liberation Army members has nothing to do with guilt or innocence, and everything to do with this America being guilty of all manner of war, crimes, and genocide against Black people, from the transatlantic slave trade, the war on Black liberation, and this perpetual war on Black people's lives, who live with police terror and violence, murder, piss-poor education, housing, and healthcare, and every act of violence that is choking the lives out of our children and elders every damn day, and especially the criminalization, capture, and imprisonment of those who wage struggle to end that oppression. We thank you, Herman and Iyaluua, for addressing the lack of financial support and community recognition these political prisoners' families deserve. Excuse me. We thank you for addressing the lack of financial support and community recognition these Black Panther Party, Black Liberation Army political prisoners of war and their families received prior to this dinner, for reminding us every year since then that there would be no let-up in sight unless we rebuild a movement, a national, international movement to free them. So we say thank you, Herman and Iyaluua, for every contribution you have ever made to the Black freedom struggle, for standing on principle and leading by example that we must dare to struggle, dare to win, for teaching and inspiring us to free the land and our Black and New African political prisoners of war, for carrying on the tradition of Black resistance, and for your legacy. It is only fitting that we give honor and praise and so much appreciation to you on this day and every day, just as it is fitting that we give honor to the mothers and fathers and sisters and brothers and children and grandchildren of our political prisoners of war. We are indebted to each of you so much more that can never be spoken in these welcome remarks. What we do today and every year is make an attempt to offer a little of what you are so incredibly deserving. To the families, we give thanks to you for continuing to serve and defend the people, our political prisoners of war, without break, recognition, except to my knowledge this dinner, or reparation when others of us have disappeared, fallen by the wayside, grown tired, weary, burnt out, disillusioned, desensitized, or simply moved on to other activism and politics that didn't include supporting your family members. For living by example that sacrifice, struggle, commitment, and love are more than words spoken at events, for holding on to every freedom dream and letting go of every prison nightmare shared between you and your loved one every day of every month of every year for 30 and 40 years, for refusing to allow the ties that bind family and community and nation to unravel, that you have stayed the course, or to remind us that the work to support you and our political prisoners is an ongoing effort. So long as these 20 members of the Black Panther Party remain unjustly imprisoned, our work is not done. We can no more afford the praising worship about the fierce courage, bravery, and self-determination of a Nat Turner, Denmark Vesey, Sekou, Malcolm X, Robert Williams, or others from a long ago, and ignore those same qualities in our living freedom fighters. No more than we can afford to have so many former revolutionaries be so much about the pomp and circumstance about being in the Black Panther Party back in the day, while having greater access to resource, careers, tenured, retired professorships, book deals, thousands of dollars in speaking engagements, grant monies, media exposure, and not be about the business of highlighting the existence of and fighting for the freedom of their Black Panther Party comrades, or at least, at the very least, assisting their families when and where needed. Dr. Clark taught us the need to understand where we were, where we are, and where we are going. Our political prisoners are where they are because of where we were when the Black Panther Party was founded, where we still are right now, and where we will continue going if we don't stop this madness. We who do this work need people who are more willing to be workers on the side of freedom and justice among the living. If we are to celebrate the legacy of the Black Panther Party and its long ago membership, and we should, but let it be reflected in the work done to free those 20 members still in prison. Let it be reflected in the support we provide their families. As the wife of a POW, I know well the toll of traveling upstate and what it does to the body and spirit. I cannot help but wonder why it is so that Mrs. Laborde, Majid's 80-something-year-old Umi, takes an almost 24-hour round-trip journey to visit her freedom-fighting son on a prison bus or van. It would seem to me that we as a community ought to at least be able to organize a cadre of volunteers, one person taking 12 days out of 365 days, or 12 people taking 1 day a month to drive her upstate. I'm not saying that she would ever even ask or even accept such an offer. Mrs. Laborde is a Black woman who has no problem getting done what needs to be done. But that is not the point. The point is that Sekou, Majid, Matulu, Seth, Sundiata, the other Herman, Jaleel, Kamal, Maroon, Mumia, and other members of the Black Panther Party and Black Liberation Army would not allow their imprisoned comrades' families to endure this burden alone. They who have endured and experienced more of life's journeys through the prism of prison, walked through more prison towers, faced more cracker prison guards, eaten more prison food, endured more prison injustice and terror than any of us can imagine. We fall short in our responsibility to make clear to them that we recognize and honor and give thanks for every sacrifice they have ever made when we don't do better. The Majid and Sekou and other brothers I know make me a believer that if they were on the streets, this would not be so. I know this because these are Black men who really did and still do believe it takes a village and that we are our sisters and brothers' keeper. We owe our political prisoners and their families at least the promise and commitment to look after their family members in their absence. I ask you to imagine not having been able to share any of the occasions, happy or sad, of your life with your mother, father, sister, brother, grandparent, and know that this is what our freedom fighters and their family have sacrificed for this movement. So if you get anything from today's presentations, it is to ask yourself, what am I doing? What can I do better or smarter? What have I sacrificed? What am I willing to sacrifice for the Black freedom struggle? These are deeply personal and reflective questions that will be different for every one of us in this room. Maybe you've done a great deal, maybe you'd like to do more, maybe you've done nothing. Whatever your level of support or lack thereof, we are challenged to do better, to be part of the collective process that supports these families and fights for our political prisoners. We have human resources. We have the skills that we need to work towards building the institutions that we need to make our families, communities, and nations stronger. If we stay on this current path, there will be more oppression, more repression. We will have more of our political prisoners die behind the wall, and we will never have the movement we and our political prisoners deserve. I don't want to see that happen, and I know there are others, especially Herman and Iyaluua, our political prisoners and their families, who don't want to see that happen. Our hope is that when you leave here today, you will be charged with new or renewed and creative vigor to fight for our political prisoners. You will be moved to get involved in a united effort we are trying to forge to bring this divided political prisoner work together as one. Like Bob Boyle said upon Lynn Stewart's release, we can free our political prisoners, but it will require that we work together to rid ourselves of the historical ignorance, individualism, cliquism, ego, arrogance, elitism, fear, and cult of the personality that pervades so much of where we are today. It will mean that if you believe, as we do, freedom is a divine right, that people not only have the right to fight for, but a duty and an obligation, then we ask you to stand with us as we fight for the freedom of our political prisoners who have done more than enough time served for standing up against injustice and wanting the world to be a better place for us to live. In this era of ever-shortening attention spans, lack of commitment, avoiding effective organizing and community organizing, do everything you can to fight for the freedom of our political prisoners. Fight for them a little more and a little harder than maybe you did last year. Fight for them as hard as you would want us to fight for you if you were a political prisoner. Fight for them. Fight for them who, as part of a movement, put into practice that all power truly belonged to the people. Fight to ensure the legacy and vision of Herman and Iyaluua keeps well, that we keep the spirit of revolutionary Black love, resistance, and community onward. And let's do it now. Time is not a luxury on our political prisoners' sides. We are the ones we've been waiting for all these years. We must not go down in the annals of history as a generation, a nation of Black folk who allowed their freedom fighters to be forgotten behind enemy lines. So let's get organized to build a movement that will bring our political prisoners home where they belong, where they are needed. In closing, I want to say thank you, Brother Mogadishu, for planting the seed for this tribute to our dynamic duo, to SODC for seeing the need and filling it, to Ann Lamb for being our shadow member of MXCC, and my New York City Jericho partner, always doing so much and getting so much done. To Shaka for being there for my middle of the night technology challenges, and trust me, I call him in the middle of the night. A very special thank you and happy birthday wish to Sister Roz, who is not a caterer, but who has spent her last few birthdays putting this event together with the food. Today is her birthday, so we say thank you, Roz. To all the volunteers who come in early and stay late every year to make this truly a beautiful community event. To all the artists and designers who donate their wares for this event. To Bob Boyle, Susan Tipograph, and Barb Zeller for always being there no matter what the medical or legal challenge facing our political prisoners. To MXCC for showing how a small group of dedicated folk can accomplish big things. And to every one of you here, Herman, Iyaluua, our political prisoners who are here in spirit, their families, and all of you, every one of you in this room, who for decades have labored selfishly, quietly, and consistently on behalf of our Black and New African political prisoners. We owe every one of you big time. It may not be said as often as it should, but know that the work you contribute is seen, felt, recognized, and very much appreciated for helping us to bring us a little closer to where we want to be. That is to free the land and free our freedom fighters. Thank you.
Can we have everyone's attention? Free the land? All right, Mama Iyaluua.
I am not letting Decree take my job away from me. Every year that I've been at one of these dinners, I am the one who calls up the family members and who brings them and introduces them to you. And Decree was about to do that, and I said, no, 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 it's my job, okay? So, Decree has spoken to you eloquently about all that these family members have gone through, and all that they sacrifice, and all that they have to give up. I can tell you personally the fear, the terror. So the first member that I'm going to call up is a young lady who has known her father so many years, locked away in prison, has never given up on him and visits him. She's now married, she has grandchildren, she has children, he has grandchildren, she takes him up to see him. Sunni Akali is one of our bravest and most courageous. She is the daughter of Sundiata. Her birthday was his birthday, yes, Sundiata's birthday. How old was Sundiata? 77. Sundiata was, come on. 77. Sundiata is 77 years old. And his birthday was January 14th. Now, he has been locked down over 30 years. People, we got to do something. This cannot go on. Anyway.
Can we have quiet?
Well, we got the warrior lady, the Harriet Tubman of our generation. Where are you, Pam? Pam has been fighting and pushing for the freedom of the Aboriginal forever. Pam represents Mamiya at this, but she also represents the Move 9. She is very, very much. She and her sister Ramona have suffered long and hard through the whole corruption and evil of Philadelphia. And Pam just keeps on fighting and upsets those police so much. She is really a warrior, really a warrior. I don't know the family of this brother, Herman Bell. Is he here? I knew his son at one time, but I don't see him. Okay. He what? Okay. Is someone here representing Jaleel?
Yes.
Well, then come up, please. Okay, yes. Because I was going to say, if nobody was going to represent Jaleel, I was going to represent him. Because I've been fighting with and working with Jaleel all these many years. And Herman, who's not up here right now, he and Jaleel and Safia are the co-authors and the conveners of the Jericho March of 1998. Jaleel and I, it's fantastic. You, not all of you, miss so much because you have not, many of you, met and known any of these brothers. They are brilliant people. They are beautiful people. They are warm people. And they have so much more to give us, really. And that is what I think motivates me, because I feel that our community, all of us are being deprived of so much. And Jaleel Mujakim is one of those that stands out for me. Sheila Hayes, Robert Hayes' wife, she was here, I know. Where are you? She must have stepped out. Okay. Here comes Herman. Kasisi is here for Kamal Siddiqui. I can't tell you that much about Kamal Siddiqui. to add just a little bit, which is sort of off the subject, I guess. When Brother Mary died, I went back into my old Nation Time, editions of Nation Time, to look for some of the poems that he had written. In so doing, I've got an edition which was printed in 2003. And what jumped out at me was a headline of a story that I had put in, an article that I had put in. And it was an article that said that Robert Seth Hayes is being denied a medical treatment. This 10 years ago. And we are now still fighting that same thing. And the brother has gotten in worse condition all these 10 years, and we have to keep fighting. And what made me think of that was this sister here. There was also an article written then by Safia about Kamal Siddiqui and all that was around him 10 years ago, people. And 10 years is a long time. I don't have the yeah. Jared, stand up. Jared, stand. Jared was a little boy who used to come around selling you all tickets. That was 10 years ago. Look at this boy now. And these brothers have been behind the wall, not just 10 years, but 20 and 30 years. I just want you to visualize that. One of my heroines, of course, is Rosa Laborde. Rosa is the mother of Abdul Majid. I've known Abdul as a little kid. Come on, Mr. Boyd. I always say that if you want to define black woman, just say Rosa Laborde. She works, she cares for her son, she's now raising her grandson. Rosa is a fantastic woman. She is the mother of Abdul Majid. This young lady you know very well. She's talking to you, and she's responsible for so much of what we see here. She is the wife of Sekou Odinga. And Sekou, when you talk with him, Sekou says, does Dekwe ever say no to anything you ask her to do? Because she works tirelessly, not just for Sekou, but for all political prisoners. I don't know if Dekwe is up here.
She's right there. She might have.
Oh, okay. Well, she's down there probably talking to Sekou on the phone. Okay, who's here representing Machulu? Is Machulu's aunt here? Then I'll represent.
There you go.
Okay. Machulu, yeah. You gotta understand that Abdul and Machulu, I have known since they were teenagers, and they are now approaching 60 years old. I worked very closely with Machulu through many things and in the Republic of New Africa. And so I feel very, very honored, I should say, because he calls me his godmother. And I just feel very personal about this brother. Is the sister up here? Where is she? Yeah, I called you up. Okay. Oh, okay. And the last name they've given me are the fantastic Schultz sisters, Sharon and Teresa. Is Russell here? The family of Russell Schultz. Much of my existence and the things that I relate to does come from political prisoners. And so when we talk about resistance, you want to talk about resistance? Then you talk about Russell Maroon Schultz. This brother is fantastic. Russell has not only been locked up some 30-some years, but he's been in solitary, and they call it special housing unit, He's been in solitary for over 30 years also. And nothing changes. His spirit of resistance, his understanding of our situation, his desire for us as a people to be free, and all that he will do still is there. He's teaching his daughter. His daughter is not teaching him. Terry goes there. I know that they get tired of her, but Terry has learned from her father to push and don't give up. You have to be relentless. So Terry and Sharon and Russell are here too. Robert King, ¿dónde está? Come up, please. There's another story all of us must know about. Let's talk about Robert King and the Angola Three. He is here representing Albert Woodfox, who was the last of the Angola Three still on that plantation. That whole story is a long one. I can't go into it all. We know that Herman Wallace was finally released 2 days, I think, I say 21 hours, but 2 days before he died. He had been ordered release 3 times before that. His conviction was overturned, but they never would release him. Albert is in the same position. Albert's conviction has been overturned, but they have not yet released him. They just appeal and appeal. And Robert King goes around the country and the world representing his comrades and his colleagues, the Angola Three. That, I think, is our family. Please, can we give them all a round? I'm not going to call Lynn up here to represent herself, but I will let you know, and I'm sure you all are very happy, that Lynn Stewart is in the house. She happily, Ralph no longer is here representing a political prisoner. No. No, he's not.
Thanks to everyone here, but we have 149 more to go.
There you go. There you go.
So thank you so much, Iyaluua. I mean, I wasn't gonna hardly do her job, but I was trying to say, you've done this for so many years, you're just participating and we're paying tribute. So when we pay tribute, that means that we just pay tribute and you just sit and enjoy it. So, yes. So wait, let them get the pictures, Iyaluua, because people want to get their pictures. So let them get the pictures. And I know, everyone in this room knows how much I love Sekou and how much I love all of our political prisoners. But compared to these people, these are the ones who have done the sacrifice. I'm not saying that I don't, but I am newer to this. So if anyone has earned the right to be acknowledged, to say that we are grateful for you, it is them. I love Sekou and I'm married to him and into his family, but Anochi was 11 years old when his father went to prison. And he's now a grown man with sons older than that. So he, more than me, stands here to represent his father. So I just want to say to the families, you are so loved. You are so appreciated. This Black struggle that we are a part of would be nothing. You are my family. I tell people all the time, this is a beautiful struggle. A lot of work, yes, but it is out of love. You have become my family. You are the people, Pam, I call in the middle of the night when I'm having a hard day, when I've come from upstate and I had to leave Sekou up there, when I haven't been able to get up there for weeks. There are people that I call on who are in this room and who are not in this room, who I know I can lean on. That is who I call family. So I give thanks to each and every one of you, because I know in the years that I have been in love with Sekou that it's hard, and it is nothing compared to the 30 and 40 years of your lives. So I give honor and respect and praise to you for your lives and your contribution. So thank you.
We're all very happy to be here today to honor this special couple, not only for all that they've accomplished, but also because, frankly, a lot of us wouldn't be here if it wasn't for them. All that they have done in the struggle for the liberation of our people, but of course because they're family. We realized a long time ago that we had to share them with a lot of others who've been influenced or touched or mentored by them. We were very fortunate to have them to teach, instruct, nurture, and love us in this cold, cruel place called America. Like all of you, we applaud their dedication and tireless work to bring about freedom, justice, and equality for us as Black people and for oppressed people throughout the world. But I think we are more acutely aware of the sacrifices that they have made to continue to do this work. And that's personal sacrifices, professional sacrifices, and family sacrifices. But they have remained steadfast in their commitment to the people, to our people, and I know I am very proud of what they have done and what they continue to do. Theirs has been an incredible and oftentimes perilous journey, but they have remained true to their beliefs and commitment to the upliftment and liberation of Africans throughout the diaspora. We cherish and love them as family, and we are also proud of what they have done and all the people they have touched, and we add our congratulations and best wishes and love to them on this special occasion.
I had to think a little bit about what I would say about my grandparents. I remember telling my mother that I'm gonna say something. I don't know what it is yet, but it's gonna be something. And when I think about it, I remember spending my summers in Guyana with my grandparents, not knowing why I had to go there. It was fun. We had great flights and harassed stewardesses and all sorts of things, but I didn't know why. I remember when my first child was born, and Colonel came home very soon after. I remember for a little while being kind of sort of to blame of that. But I did not fully understand who my grandparents were and what they did until I had to go to certain events and have people sign petitions. And then later on, much later on in life, when I had to help and started running the kitchen for these dinners and working with Daquis, who's I love. She's like one of my bestest sisters, okay? And all of the things that they are to you. It wasn't until then that I began to understand. And over the years, when I watched my babies, who literally, Daquis reminded me, have grown up with this dinner. The twins are 17, and they have been here probably since day one. Donovan is 18, and they used to be the little ones that ran around and sold y'all tickets and then picked the numbers out of the hats and things like that. But I have to say that I have always been in awe of my grandparents and really what they mean to you. It showed me a side of them that I had, I guess, kind of sort of been blinded to for so much of my youth. While I may not have admitted this a while ago, many years ago, I can say now proudly that there are two people in this world that I could not imagine living without, and maybe even want to be like when I grow up. Okay? So I say to you that I understand, that we appreciate your struggle, that we appreciate your sacrifices and everything that you have done for the freedom of our people.
Listen. Let's go. Segregated our actions, you were wicked. You despised us so much that you celebrated lynching. Left us hanging like a fruit in a tree. Publicly undignified for everyone to see. Are we lesser than the people? Thought the Lord made us equally. I bought my 40 acres. You owe a lot of paper. Money changing, brother, yo, that's worth it. The figures. Yeah, stocks and the shares is the only known interest. Gamble on the capital, flip it, coming back to you. Yeah, why you take your man triple, coming back to your crew? Now that's real money talk. Yeah, why you cheat talk? I got another house bought. This time in Africa, I gotta have a piece of her. She the only thing living that I know is sweet to us. And when I'm done America, I'm leaving you. Peace. So peace, sayonara, cause I never wanna be bye. Never wanted anything except for my freedom. You took that away from me and pledged the allegiance. I saluted to a flag that I did not believe in. You took me from my homeland and had me thinking that I was coming to a world of better living. But I ended up lost and forbidden to befriend with. Segregated our actions, you were wicked. You despised us so much that you celebrated lynching. Left us hanging like a fruit in a tree. Publicly undignified for everyone to see. Are we lesser than the people? Thought the Lord made us equally. I want my 40 acres. You owe a lot. We talk about freedom, can't forget about the pain. You know G. Washington had over 200 slaves working for that dollar bill with his face every day. So are we really free? Are we indebted to his name? Pay the bill to the bill that was charged to the game. Don't contemplate too hard, yo, it's very simple, man. Why we can't see our face on our own means? Chase down our own dreams. Lowering our standards for acceptance like Prince of Kings. We were made to create our own opportunities and lend a hand to every man in our community. Gentrification will subside our immunity. Still building up resistance in the land of opportunity. America's in debt for more than money, that's for real. They can't pay back how emotionally we deal, so stay back. Need no interruptions while we heal. I'm taking my 40 acres, dude. And my meal. Segregated our actions, you wicked. You despised us so much that you celebrated lynching. Left us hanging like a fruit in a tree. Publicly undignified for everyone to see. Are we lesser than the people? Thought the Lord made us equally. Freedom ain't never gonna be free. Hear me clear, blackness flows as molten gold from the motherland.